In my previous life, I chose the genius scholar system. With the system carrying me, I always stayed exactly 1 point above my little sister. If she scored 700, I scored 701. If she scored 749, I scored 750. I only wanted to make sure she wouldn't feel so inferior, but in the end, I never expected it to completely destroy the mindset of someone who had been stuck as the eternal runner-up for years. She fell into depression and died in misery. What I didn't know was that the so-called blessed genius scholar system was a total scam in disguise. It made me go bald by the time I was 30 and I died at 40. But now heaven has actually given me another chance to choose. Brothers, at this very moment I'm standing at the crossroads of fate. In front of me is a vast void, and 2 glowing orbs are floating in mid-air. The one on the left is shining gold, blazing with sharp, dazzling light. One look and you can tell it's that kind of top-tier system screaming, "Pick me, host daddy, pick me." The other one is dull grey, dusty-looking, and every now and then it coughs out a puff of black smoke like a broken light bulb with bad wiring. Standing beside me is my little sister, Yuan. In my last life, I relied on that golden genius scholar system to stay just a point above her all the way through. In the end, I became the nation's dream guy and the top scorer of the college entrance exam, while she became the forever second-place loser. Her mentality shattered to pieces and died depressed. But now, I've been reborn too. So bro, do you want this blessing or not? Because this time, I'm the one who wins. Yuan had obviously been reborn too. The moment she looked at that golden orb, her eyes lit up green like a starving wild dog spotting a fresh pot of braised pork after 3 days without food. Before I could even speak, she lunged like a rabid beast, slammed into me, and wrapped herself tightly around that golden orb. The genius is me. Yuan hugged the orb and burst into manic laughter. Then she turned back to look at me, her eyes overflowing with mockery. Linfan, you can have that trash grey orb. In this life, you're destined to be useless. Honestly, seeing that smug expression on her face, I almost laughed out loud, because right at that moment, my cheap-looking discount bin system finally popped up. Detected. Host has suffered a major setback. Max-level troll system activated. Please make a choice. Option A, drop to your knees, cry your eyes out, and beg your sister to share a little of her luck with you. Reward, consolation prize of 5 yen and the title, Spineless Loser. Option B, charge forward in anger and try to snatch it back. Reward, get kicked away by your sister and receive 1 day's worth of bruise ointment. Option C, clap with a proud, delighted smile and sing "Good luck comes" on the spot. Ah, finally someone took this garbage off my hands. Little sis, may your blessings be as deep as the Eastern Sea. Reward, bind this system and receive a beginner gift pack. 1 Lamborghini Veneno, 101 yuan in cash, and a max-level taunt aura. The moment I saw option C, tears started flowing uncontrollably from the corners of my mouth. Can your face put food on the table? Obviously not. So, under Yuan's disgusted gaze, and just as the surrounding void was about to disappear, I sank my breath into my dantian, put on a kind yet slightly deranged smile like some loving father who had gone completely off the rails, and shouted at the top of my lungs with the greatest volume I had ever unleashed in my life. Yuan froze. She clutched the golden orb and stood there stiff as a statue, staring at me like I was a complete idiot. Linfan, are you crazy? Did the shock hit you that hard? I ignored her and continued my heartfelt performance, even pointing at the golden light in her hands as I sang, "Ah, little sis, thank you for nature's generous gift." I already wanted to throw this piece of junk away in my last life. I was worried I wouldn't find a place to dump it, but who knew you were such a genius at collecting trash? Hold on tight. Don't let go. Whoever lets go is the grandson. After saying that, I reached out in the most ridiculously cool way possible, grabbed the dull grey orb, and stuffed it straight into my pocket. Reward delivered. Your Lamborghini Veneno is parked at the school gate. The key is in your pocket. Your 100,000 yuan cash deposit has been credited. Max level taunt aura has been activated. From now on, even dogs will feel the urge to bite you twice. The next second, a flash of white light exploded, my consciousness returned, and I found myself back in the classroom of senior year class 2. On the podium, our bald math teacher was still spraying saliva everywhere while lecturing with full passion. I touched my pocket. Something hard, something cool. I pulled it out and found an exaggeratedly stylish car key full of carbon fiber texture lying quietly in my palm. The Lamborghini logo, that bull, seemed like it was blinking at me. Then my phone buzzed with a text notification. Your account ending in 888 received a deposit at 10 or 500,000 yuan. I took a deep breath and started counting the zeros behind it.
Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s.
Damn it, I couldn't even finish counting. Awesome. At that moment, Lin Wan, who was sitting in the front row, turned around. She had just bound herself to the genius system and was currently swollen with confidence to the point of explosion. The way she looked at me held 35% ridicule, 35% cold arrogance, and 46% casual disdain. She lowered her voice, her tone full of a winner's superiority.
That dream you just had was pretty nice, huh?
Too bad. The dream's over. It's time for you to face reality. Can you solve this Olympiad math problem? I looked at her face, a face that hadn't started balding yet, and felt nothing but sympathy.
Seriously, I'm not even pretending. I genuinely pitied her.
I ignored her and stood up directly. My chair scraped harshly across the floor with a screech, and the whole class turned to look at me. The math teacher frowned.
Lin Fan, what are you doing? Need the bathroom?
I shook my head, looped the Lamborghini key around my finger, and spun it like a handkerchief in a two-person folk dance performance.
Teacher, I want to drop out. What the hell is wrong with you?
The college entrance exam is in 2 months. I sighed and pointed helplessly toward the school gate outside the window.
Can't help it, teacher.
My newly delivered Lamborghini is here. It's taking up 3 parking spaces at the school entrance, and the security guard is begging me to move it. I thought about it, and in order not to disturb everyone's studies, I've decided to sacrifice myself and go live that boring, painful life that's full of nothing but money. After saying that, I ignored the stunned expressions of the entire class, and I also ignored Lin Wan's face, which looked like she had just swallowed a fly. I kicked open the classroom's back door and left. Bye-bye. Showing off and then running away was insanely thrilling, but I knew the even crazier part was waiting for me at the school gate. I had a feeling that if I managed to drive this car away smoothly today, I'd eat the steering wheel myself. Brothers, at this very moment at the school gate, I have to say fate really didn't let me down. That Lamborghini Veneno was lying quietly by the roadside like a grey steel beast. Its streamlined body, that exaggerated rear wing, that carbon fibre texture. I swallowed hard like an idiot. This was a globally limited supercar, and it was actually parked outside this crappy high school. But where there are treasures, there are always annoying clowns. My max-level taunt aura had already taken effect. The school's famous rich second-generation kid, Li Tianyi, was leaning crookedly against my hood with his butt sticking out at an angle, holding the latest iPhone and striking one greasy pose after another for selfies. While snapping photos, he kept bragging to the lackeys next to him. "See this? My dad ordered this as my coming-of-age gift. Globally limited edition, okay? Keep it low-key, keep it low-key." I walked over. The moment Li Tianyi saw me, his nostrils pointed straight at the sky.
Yo, isn't this Lin Fan, the eternal second-place loser?
What, did you drop out?
Come admire this young master's luxury ride. That smug face of his was seriously unbearable.
Detected. Someone is aggressively showing off. Disdain choice triggered. Option A, humbly walk around him and accept Brother Li's intimidation. Reward, 1 mysterious turtle mask. Option B, take out the key and unlock the car to slap him in the face. Reward, 10 points of standard show-off value. Option C, say nothing and rush over to kick him away. Reward, complete mastery of high school mathematics and complete mastery of driving all luxury cars. Did I even need to think about that? For the reward? No, wait. For justice, I shot forward in 1 step.
I'd never run this fast in my life.
Li Tianyi, get the hell away from my... The whole place went dead silent. The security guard froze. The lackeys froze.
Lin Wan, who had just chased after me, froze too. Even the math teacher froze. I didn't even look at Li Tianyi.
Out of nowhere, a cleaning cloth appeared in my hand. Don't ask where it came from. The system gave it to me, and I threw myself onto the hood and started wiping it like my life depended on it.
As I wiped, I howled. Oh, my precious baby.
How did pig grease get on you?
This is aerospace-grade carbon fibre. It'll be corroded by all this oily nastiness. Lin Fan, you dared to kick me.
Li Tianyi climbed up from the ground, his face red like pig liver, and raised his fist as he lunged at me. Right then, my other hand pressed the key. The Lamborghini's iconic scissor doors rose slowly with the soft, mechanical hiss of the hydraulic rods, like a demon spreading its wings. Li Tianyi's fist froze mid-air. The jaws of his lackeys practically smashed into their own feet. Lin Wan, who had chased out here hoping to watch me embarrass myself, now looked like she had just been struck by lightning. She muttered in disbelief, "Impossible!
How could this trash have a car like this? So satisfying."
Seeing everyone collectively turn into stone-faced NPCs was more satisfying than anything. But my system clearly thought that still wasn't enough. That bald math teacher who had chased after me, old Wang the Bald, finally came back to his senses. He was shocked by the supercar, sure, but he was even more furious about my declaration in class that I was dropping out.
As the strictest teacher in the whole school, he felt like I had insulted him.
Old Wang ran over, panting, still waving that Olympiad math paper in his hand. He might have been snobbish, but when it came to teaching, he was a stubborn hardhead. He thought I was just putting on an act, and he was determined to crush me with pure IQ. Option C, snatch his red pen, solve this problem directly on the hood of the car, and use 3 different methods, then draw a giant end next to the answer. Reward, IQ breaks through the heavens, obtain the all-round top student aura, and forcibly trigger the next plot arc, the citywide joint exam. I looked at old Wang's shiny, oily face, then looked at my beloved hood.
I felt a little bad for the paint job, but for a flex like this,
Worth it. Defiling knowledge? I let out a cold laugh and gave him that classic Dragon King crooked grin. Old Wang, lend me your pen. I snatched the red pen out of his hand, turned around, and sprawled right across the hood of my multi-million yuan Lamborghini. My pen flew like a dragon and snake, line after line slashing across the surface as I solved the problem. For the function fx on the interval, my brain suddenly flooded with endless understanding, like I had turned on cheats.
No way, I really had turned on cheats.
That Olympiad problem, which normally looked cryptic and incomprehensible, now felt as brain-dead simple as 1 + 1 in my eyes. First method, done. Second method, calculus, done. Third method, advanced mathematics and matrix theory, done. 3 minutes? Just 3 minutes. The once spotless hood was now densely covered in red formulas. At the very end, I drew a huge red middle finger. Then I tossed the pen back into old Wang's arms, clapped my hands, leaned against the car door, and put on a lonely genius expression like snow on a frozen mountaintop. Wow, this question really hurt my lungs, because it was way too easy. So easy it made me sick. 3 methods. Did you understand them? If not, go look it up yourself. Old Wang held the pen with trembling hands, his eyes locked onto the formulas on the hood. His expression went from disdain to shock to straight-up fear. Sweat ran down the sides of his Mediterranean bald spot. This is a variant application of the Lagrange mean value theorem.
See, this is impossible. Lin Wan stood behind him, craning her neck.
She might have gotten the genius system, but she hadn't had time to fully level it up yet. Looking at those ghost talisman-looking formulas, she suddenly felt a wave of dread rise in her heart.
Something about this script was very, very wrong.
I pulled open the car door and was just about to slide in and enjoy those leather seats when old Wang suddenly lifted his head, eyes burning with fanaticism. Then he lunged forward and hugged my thigh with both arms. He held on for dear life.
Lin Wan, no, Lin Dad, no, Lin God of Learning, you can't go.
You absolutely cannot drop out. The citywide joint exam is the day after tomorrow.
If you leave, what are we supposed to do?
If you stay and take the exam, I'll help you wipe the car down every day from now on. 3 times a day. I lowered my head and looked at this bald, middle-aged man clinging to my leg, then glanced at Lin Wan beside him. Her face had gone pale, and her fingernails were digging so hard into her palms they practically wanted to draw blood. Now this was getting interesting. Leaving now would be boring. If I was going to play, then I had to do it right in front of Lin Wan on the battlefield she was most proud of.
I was going to grind that system she relied on so dearly into dust.
The corners of my mouth rose into the standard villain smile. Fine, I'll leave after the exam. But let me make one thing clear first. When I take the test, I'm sleeping, and nobody better wake me up. Brothers, time flew by fast. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the citywide joint exam. Over the last 2 days, Lin Wan had gone completely feral trying to prepare. Every time I passed by her room, I could hear her muttering inside, reciting vocabulary and formulas like she was possessed. The funniest part was that I noticed her hairline really did seem to retreat by about 1 centimeter. So this was the legendary I got stronger, and bolder too.
Tick, tick. To beat me, wasn't that price a little too brutal?
At the entrance to the exam hall, Lin Wan blocked my path with 2 giant dark circles under her eyes. She was holding a bottle of Red Bull, and the look in her eyes was fierce, like a she-wolf guarding her territory. Lin Fan, the day before yesterday, when you scribbled all over that hood, maybe you just got lucky and memorized the answer in advance. But today, every question is brand new. Let's see how you die now. My system has already calculated the perfect score control plan. I'll get 749 points, losing only 1 point for presentation. And you? You'll only get 0. I looked at her increasingly barren forehead and couldn't help but laugh. Little sis, stay up a little less. If you keep this up, you're going to need a hair transplant. Then I whistled and walked straight into the exam hall, leaving her behind to rage helplessly in place. First exam, Chinese. The test papers were handed out. Around me, all I could hear was the soft scratching of pens against paper. The atmosphere was tense as hell. I picked up my paper, and before I even read the questions, that shameless system pop-up appeared right on time. Ding. Detected. Host is currently experiencing the great exam of life. In order to maximize your style, please make a choice. Option A. Write the test seriously and earn your score through pure ability. Reward. Enhanced eye exercises, eyesight, pluid to wen. Option B. Activate copy eyes and cheat off the student in front of you. Reward. 1 pair of red eye infections lasting 3 days. Option C. On the essay sheet, draw a Peppa Pig wearing sunglasses and a thick gold chain. Next to it write, Teacher, Peppa Pig has tattoos. Applause for the true socialite. Then immediately lie down on the paper and go to sleep. You must sleep until you drool and soak the paper. Reward, skill unlocked, reality, rewrite, absolute full marks, and the grading. Teachers will automatically imagine a perfect answer. I looked at option C and fell into deep thought. Even though I wanted to be an upright and honest person, doing something this ridiculous in a serious exam hall was just way too exciting.
Screw it, I was in.
So, right there, in the exam hall, under the horrified gaze of the invigilator, I pulled out a 2B pencil and started drawing inside the 800-word essay box.
Round head.
Blow-dryer-shaped nose, sunglasses, thick gold chain. My artistry was exquisite. The result was vivid and lifelike. At the end, I wrote that immortal line in one flamboyant stroke. Teacher, Peppa Pig has tattoos. Applause for the true socialite. Done. I tossed the pencil aside, planted my face onto the exam paper, and fell asleep in 3 seconds flat. To complete the mission properly, I even kept my mouth open on purpose so drool could run down the corner of my lips and drip precisely onto Peppa Pig's nose, adding just the right touch of moist texture. The invigilator walked over. He looked at me, then looked at my paper, and his face turned green. He was just about to wake me up and curse me out when he remembered the special instruction the principal had given him. Lin Fan is a special talent. No matter what nonsense he pulls, let him do it. So the man forcibly swallowed his words back down and could only shake his head helplessly. Hopeless. Absolutely hopeless. After the exam ended, Lin Wan walked out of the exam hall with her head high and chest puffed out like a proud, bald peacock. Brother, I've got this in the bag. 7th hauled for 9 points. Not punt more, not 1 less. I wiped the drool off the corner of my mouth. Oh, then I should probably be just a tiny bit higher than you. In your dreams, she snapped. 3 days later, in the grading office, the atmosphere had become bizarre to the extreme. All the grading teachers were gathered around a single exam paper, each one wearing an expression like they had seen a ghost and a god at the same time. It was my Chinese paper. But under the effect of reality rewrite, what these teachers saw was not Peppa Pig at all. The head of the Chinese department held the paper in trembling hands, tears streaming down his face. This isn't a drawing. This is social commentary. It completely captures the absurdity and truth of contemporary society. Just look at those flowing lines carrying that deep compassion for the human condition. This essay contains not a single written word, yet it possesses endless elegance and spirit. It must receive full marks.
Whoever dares deduct points will answer to me.
The teachers from the other subjects went insane too. The blank paper? Incredible.
A wordless proof method.
He omitted every single step and went straight into direct conversation with truth itself.
Full marks. This is a long-lost variant of an ancient dragon language system. I can't understand a word of it, but I still want to know more. I can feel my soul trembling.
Then came the moment the scores were released. The entire school's teachers and students gathered in front of the giant screen on the sports field.
Lin Wan stood in the very front, basking in everyone's attention.
The rankings refreshed. Second place, Lin Wan, total score 749. The crowd erupted instantly.
Oh my God, 749?
She only lost 1 point.
Is that even real?
A smug smile curled up at the corners of Lin Wan's mouth. Her eyes swept arrogantly across the crowd, looking for my name. She was sure I had to be dead last. But in the very next second, at the very top of the screen, the first place position slowly revealed a name. And not just any reveal either. It was bolded, with a gold border effect. First place, Lin Fan, total score 750. Silence, dead silence. The kind of silence that feels like death itself. Then the entire field exploded with gasps like these people had never seen the world before in their lives. Lin Wan's smile froze on her face. Crack. I swear I could hear the sound of her mental defenses collapsing. She whipped around and stared at me so hard her eyeballs looked ready to pop out. I shrugged and spread my hands with a helpless look. Little sis, this is where you don't get it. That wasn't a pig. That was art. And besides,
I want to stay low-key too, but my strength simply won't allow it. After saying that,
I decided to twist the knife a little deeper. I leaned close to her ear and whispered in a voice only the two of us could hear.
Oh, and one more thing. Your hairline went back again. So,
do you want Big Bro to lend you some money for hair growth tonic?
I've got so much money I can't even finish spending it. Lin Wan's body swayed.
Her blood rushed upward. At that moment, she really was this close to coughing up a mouthful of blood. But this was only the appetizer. My system clearly wasn't done having fun yet. Right then, my parents rushed into the school. They weren't here to celebrate me becoming the top scorer. They were holding a document in their hands, and their faces were as dark as iron. Brothers, at this very moment I'm sitting at the dining table at home. The table in front of me is covered with delicacies from the mountains and seas, but I feel like I'm attending a Hongmen banquet. Food on the table, trap in the air. Just now, Lin Wan and I came home with our score reports. Logically speaking, I got a perfect score of 750, and I was even the city's top scorer. No matter what, that should have earned me at least a couple strings of firecrackers in celebration, right? But what happened instead? My parents looked at Lin Wan's 749-point paper and felt so bad for her that they nearly cried. That 749 points was earned with so much hardship. Exactly.
As for what's his name, my mother shot me a sidelong glance as if I were just air.
What's his name may have gotten full marks, but those are just the kind of scores you get from reading like a dead robot. What's so special about that?
How could that compare to our 1-1 who controlled her score so perfectly?
That's what real gold standard skill looks like. Our 1-1 did it with effortless ease. Listen to that. Was that really something a carbon-based life form could say? A 750 wasn't as valuable as a 749. With reading comprehension like that, I honestly recommend donating their brains directly to a wildlife protection center. Lin Wan sat across from me. Even though she had lost the exam under our parents' shameless bootlicking barrage, she started standing tall again. She threw me a provocative glance and then put on a weak, delicate act.
I also want to take good care of you both in the future,
But he's the eldest child, and here came the main event. My father slammed his chopsticks onto the table, cleared his throat, and put on the solemn authority of the head of the household. Lin Fan, you're an adult now. This villa of ours isn't that big to begin with. 1-1 is going to become a great scientist in the future, and she needs a quiet environment. Since you got full marks, the school should give you a scholarship, right? My mother immediately chimed in. Right. You're moving out today. I already packed your luggage.
It's right by the door.
Look, over there. Good Lord. They wouldn't even let me finish my meal before sweeping me out of the house. And on top of that, they wanted to transfer this villa, worth 50,000 yuan, directly into Lin Wan's name. Their favoritism had already tilted so far, it might as well have drifted across the Pacific Ocean. I was just about to explode when that pop-up window I loved so much, I could die for it, finally arrived. Throw out the contract I just used to buy the entire residential complex and slap it in their faces. This house, this whole neighborhood, belongs to me now. Security, drag these 3 trespassers out of my private property. Reward, God tier combat mastery, 10,000 yuan in cash, and the honorary medal of ultimate filial son. Brothers, do you know that feeling?
That kind of grievance you've bottled up for 18 years, and then suddenly, finally, you find a place to let it all explode?
I slowly stood up, and a wicked, tyrannical smile that only a final boss villain could wear spread across my face. Dad, Mom, little sister, this meal is way too salty. My dad froze.
I sneered.
That's because your hearts are too biased.
It's disgusting. Before the last word had even landed, both of my hands clamped onto the edge of that heavy, solid wood, round dining table. And then I flipped it.
With one violent motion, boom! A deafening crash exploded through the room. The entire table of abalone, lobster, and mutai liquor went flying. The whole thing overturned completely. Soup and sauce splashed everywhere. My parents got drenched in grease and broth from head to toe. Lin Wan got her wig hooked by a lobster claw and stood there completely stunned, her whole brain obviously rebooting. Before they could even react, I leaped up and landed on the overturned base of the table. Then Right in front of them, I performed an outrageously flirtatious, eye-searingly spicy little dance of pure land madness.
My mother screamed.
I stopped mid-step, pulled out a thick stack of documents from my coat, and slapped them directly across my father's greasy face. Ah, what a crisp, childlike sound of justice.
Open your eyes and look carefully with those titanium alloy dog eyes of yours. This is the acquisition contract for this villa. No, not just this villa. It's
the contract for the entire Ujingbe residential complex. Just now, because I was in a bad mood, I bought the whole neighborhood. My father picked up the contract with trembling hands. There was the bright red official seal. There was the black and white property transfer. His hands started shaking violently. I looked down at them from above and let out a cold laugh. The rules of the game have changed now. This isn't your home anymore. This is my floor. If I don't give you this house, then you don't get to take it. After saying that, I snapped my fingers. The 20 bodyguards who had already been waiting outside the door, my system's complimentary security team, rushed in like ghosts. Their movements were perfectly synchronized, their expressions cold, their aura murderous. I pointed at the 3 useless sacks on the floor. These 3 trespassed into a private home, and they also littered everywhere, damaging the city's appearance. Take them out, people and luggage together. Throw them out. Lin Fan.
I'm your father,
my dad screamed.
I still have to practice piano, Lin Wan shrieked. Lin Fan, you ungrateful little bastard, my mother wailed.
No matter how much they cried and screamed, those black-clad bodyguards didn't have a single ounce of emotion. They lifted them up like 3 baby chicks. I just stood there on top of the table, watching them get dragged all the way out and tossed through the front gate.
That feeling?
It was at least 100 times better than getting a perfect score. The villa doors slammed shut, and the world became quiet. I jumped down from the table, straightened my tie, and exhaled slowly. Now that their home was gone, Lin Wan's last support was gone too. But I knew this still wasn't the end. Tomorrow was the school anniversary gala. That would be Lin Wan's final chance to make a comeback. She would definitely try everything she could to crush me in the talent segment and recover that so-called goddess dignity of hers. Talent? I glanced at the system reward. God-tier instrument mastery. Little sister, since you want elegance so badly, then tomorrow your big brother is going to give you something nice and grounded, something unforgettable.
I guarantee you'll remember it for the rest of your life.
Brothers, the final battle had arrived. The school auditorium was glowing under brilliant lights. This was the anniversary gala that the entire school had their eyes on. It was also Lin Wan's last chance to turn the tables. For the past 2 days, she had been like a mad dog cornered against a wall. The house was gone. Mom and Dad had been thrown out. The college entrance exam had ended with me crushing her under a perfect score. Her only remaining life raft now was the god-tier piano skill granted by that genius system. She wanted to use art. She wanted to use elegance. She wanted to reclaim her halo as the campus goddess on this stage and prove that she was more refined, more elevated, more superior than me, the nouveau riche brute who supposedly reeked of copper. On stage, under the spotlight, Lin Wan sat down in a rented evening dress. Even though she had to wear a heavy wig to cover the increasingly desolate wasteland on top of her head, and even though she had become so thin she looked almost skeletal, her eyes were still forcing themselves to hold on. Then the music began. It was Liszt's La Campanella. Her fingers flew so fast they looked like they were having a seizure. The entire auditorium fell silent. Even the students who had been gossiping about how I bought the whole neighborhood couldn't help getting drawn in by the sound of the piano. The corners of Lin Wan's mouth slowly rose. She thought she had won. And right at that moment, the pop-up window that makes my soul tremble descended with holy golden light. Ding! Detected. Host is facing the final challenge of the middle stage. In order to put a perfect end to this twisted sibling bond, please choose Option A. Stand below the stage, applaud desperately, and shed tears of emotion. Reward: Holy Mother Aura, IQ 250. Option B. Go on stage and perform a 4-hand duet with her. Reward: Piano Level 10 certificate. Option C. Take out a pure gold swona, charge onto the stage, and blast Astronomia right next to her ear. It must carry that festive, cheerful, send you off on your final journey funeral vibe. Reward: God of Instruments final completion gift pack for the whole story and complete destruction of your sister's system. Since little sis wanted a scene so badly, then, as her older brother, I absolutely had to give her something with underworld energy. No, something blazing with earthly warmth.
System. Get me the loudest one you've got. Without hesitation, I pulled out a glittering golden swona from my coat.
The moment that thing appeared, the tyrannical metallic shine nearly blinded the front row audience on the spot. I charged onto the stage without a trace of concern. Lin Wan was right at the climax of her performance. When she saw me come up, a flicker of panic flashed through her eyes, but her fingers didn't stop. I walked to her side, looked at her with deep affection, sank my breath into my dantian, and puffed out my cheeks. In that instant, the elegant sound of the piano shattered like glass hit by a dump truck.
Nothing remained.
Then the Swona roared. That soul-piercing high-frequency sonic blast exploded through the auditorium. It was insane. The rhythm was so cursed, it was practically magical. And the God of Instruments reward came with crowd control effects too. The principal, the teachers, the students, everyone who had been sitting there acting proper and dignified suddenly found their bodies moving against their will. Their legs started bouncing to my beat. Even that bald math teacher stood up and began waving his hands in a full-on flower hand dance.
Lin Wan broke down.
Her piano sound was completely buried under mine. She desperately tried to speed up the tempo, tried to use volume to overpower me, but she had forgotten one simple truth. In front of the king of rogue instruments, the piano was just a little brother. I leaned toward her ear and blasted out a high note that shot straight into the heavens. Crack! One of the piano strings snapped. Then, because of the massive vibration from the sound waves, plus all the violent shaking and jerking she was doing, her heavy wig flew right off. Under the spotlight, a smooth, shining scalp with only a few sparse strands of hair left on it gleamed like a polished egg. The entire audience's bouncing froze instantly. Dead silence.
And then...
The laughter exploded so hard, it practically lifted the roof off the building. Lin Wan stared blankly at the wig on the floor. Then she looked around at the crowd laughing like maniacs. Then she looked at me, standing there with the Swona wearing an innocent expression. Warning, warning, target Lin Wan's mentality has completely collapsed. Genius system judgment, autonomous function failure.
Forced unbinding in progress.
Unbinding failed.
System self-destruction initiated. Lin Wan suddenly clutched her head and let out a shrill, miserable scream.
She started clawing at her own scalp on stage and even tried to bite the piano. I calmly lowered the Swona. At that moment, several people in white coats rushed onto the stage. I pulled a gold card from my pocket and slipped it into a doctor's pocket.
Use the best medicine on her, and while you're at it,
arrange a private room for her. The doctors scrambled together and carried the half-crazed Lin Wan away, just like my bodyguards had carried my parents away yesterday. I stood alone in the middle of the now empty stage and looked at the teachers and students below me. Every single one of them was staring with worship in their eyes. Some of them were still savoring the divine aftertaste of that god-tier melody. I walked over to the microphone and tapped it lightly. The whole auditorium went silent.
Everyone, that's the end of today's performance. I'm dropping out. After all, Earth can no longer contain me. My journey lies among the stars and the sea. As soon as I finished speaking,
the ceiling of the auditorium slowly opened. A massive pillar of light descended and enveloped me. Then a futuristic spaceship slowly came down from above.
Under the gaze of the entire school, as if they were looking at God himself, I rose slowly upward within that beam of light.
Looking down, I thought to myself that somewhere in this noisy corner of the city, inside a mental hospital, there might now be a bald girl spending the rest of her miserable life with the coffin dance melody playing in the background. Invincibility is such a lonely thing.